Okay, so today I will be reviewing Marley Spoon, and I want to get out right in the first few seconds of this video is that I do not have any kind of affiliation with Marley Spoon. There's no sponsorship deal with Marley Spoon. Everything I'm going to tell you today is my true experience with making these recipes. Marley Spoon started in Australia, and in the United States there is a partnership with Martha Stewart. Basically, if you're not familiar with Marley Spoon, you're allowed to pick different recipes and have all the ingredients delivered straight to your home, and you're given instructions on how you can make some really interesting meals all by yourself. And that's what I was interested in because I basically don't know how to cook. You're given the opportunity to pick out different meals. You can either get 2 dinners or 3 dinners, and you can have it for 2 people or 4 people. It's up to you. So for me, I decided I wanted the 3 meal plan for 2 people. And in this review, I'm going to review the first box that I ordered. What I really liked about this was that it helped me plan out my meals for 3 days in a row. The first thing I made, which was really exciting, I made enchiladas, which in the past I never attempted it because I just thought it was too difficult. It's just better off going to a Mexican restaurant and you know you'll get good enchiladas. I actually didn't know that it's no big deal to make them yourself, and I did, and it didn't taste halfway bad. Actually, it was really good. Would have been better in a restaurant, probably a little bit better in a restaurant, but I was so happy with the results that I plan to make enchiladas again. I was very happy with the first recipe. This is what it looks like on the Marley Spoon recipe card, and this is what it ended up looking when it was all said and done. When I was finished with it, this is what it looked like. Okay, so one interesting thing about my Marley Spoon experience, my first box, was that I cooked all my meals in the same pan, which was a cast iron pan. I was glad that I actually had it, even though I say that I don't cook much. Somewhere along the line I bought one, and I was really happy I did. If you have one, great. If you don't, I would highly consider getting one. I left a link in the description below to getting one that is highly rated and highly reviewed, and you should consider getting one. Like I said, the link is in the description. Okay, so I talked about the first recipe I made on December 31st, but now I will be talking about the second recipe, which I made on New Year's Day. And for New Year's Day, I wanted to have the nicest meal for that day, for the first day of the new year, and I chose to make the steak recipe on New Year's Day. And I made that one, and I made the fries from that recipe, which was a very simple recipe of oven-baked French fries. And I never made them that way, and it was so easy, and I'm going to make fries like that from now on. So this is some value that I got from Marley Spoon. It kind of showed me how to do something that I didn't even consider doing before, and now I'm going to make it a normal part of when I start to make dinners outside of Marley Spoon. I am going to say about the steak, I did not like the steak so much because the steak had a lot of tendons in it, and it was very chewy. It wasn't, I've had worse, but this definitely wasn't the best. And it was okay, but I wasn't impressed. I made the salad, and that came out really well. I did complain that some of the ingredients weren't very fresh, but the lettuce was very fresh and very crispy. And everything else with the salad, which is very simple and basic, was for the most part very fresh too. So this type of salad was one that was very easy to make. This is why I think Marley Spoon can be really good for some people. If you are not somebody that cooks, you essentially are forced to cook because the ingredients come in, and if you don't use them, then they spoil. So you've got the incentive of making meals every day until the the ingredients are used up. And for that reason, I'm going to be ordering from Marley Spoon at least 3 boxes, because they'll give you basically $20 off. It depends on what kind of promotion you get, but I'm getting about $20 off for the first 3 boxes. So I'm definitely going to order 3 boxes. After that, I don't know, and I'll do a follow-up video after the 3rd box whether I decide to keep going with it. I can see this being a really good option for people that want to have a good, decent variety of food that they can cook themselves. And if you're a busy professional and you have a decent income stream, then I think it's worth paying for Marley Spoon even at the full price level. But I'm going to tell you something I did not like. The recipe cards look really nice. You've got a really pretty picture of what you're making, but I found the recipe cards extremely difficult to understand the instructions. I almost feel as though the person writing those instructions is a professional chef, and they probably are, but they're writing it for the mindset of a professional chef. As I said before, I have extremely basic cooking skills, and when they're showing on the cards how to put everything together, it got confusing to me, because it was almost like there was a lot of multitasking going on, and sometimes I didn't know what component of the recipe I was making, and it wasn't really a clear division of that. And for all 3 recipes, I was kind of annoyed because it was harder for me to figure it out. But having said all of that, what I can say that even any kind of aggravation, small aggravation, not great aggravation, but small aggravation I had, was well worth it, because the end product was rather delicious. I felt like I accomplished something. Like, wow, I made this. I threw this all together, and it doesn't taste bad. I also have another negative thing to say about it. I received the items on the 30th at the end of the day. I wasn't going to use them anyways, but I was going to start on the 31st. That was my plan. 31st, 1st, and the 2nd. And the ingredients weren't that fresh, even for on the 31st when I was making my enchiladas. Also, the corn tortillas were kind of cracked. Like the whole pack, they had a crack in the middle for all 6 tortillas, and it was annoying, but I was able to wrap up the filling and then put it in the pan, and everything held together. But I felt that the tortillas weren't strong enough to hold up. I mean, I don't think they should arrive with like all 6 tortillas split in the middle. These were corn tortillas. Not so much with the enchilada recipe, but the other 2 recipes, some of the ingredients were not as fresh as I'd like them to be. And with these meal services, whether it's Marley Spoon or the other ones, they advertise all the time that the produce they give you is going to be highly fresh. And my experience was that it was somewhat fresh. Everything was basically usable for the most part for the day I was preparing the recipe, but there were a few that just fell short of what really it should be. Because if you're paying this kind of price, it should be fresh and perfect for days. And like I said, I made it the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd full days that I had this box, and the contents should have maintained more freshness. Now, the 3rd recipe I made on January 2nd, which was the lasagna. Now, when I opened up all the ingredients, I noticed that the kale, the dinosaur kale, was a little on the iffy side, because this is by time like the 3rd full day, and maybe if I made it the 1st day of the lasagna, the kale of course would be in much better shape. But It looked usable, but I didn't quite want to use it, so I just didn't make the salad for that recipe. And I ended up not using it at all. So that I wasn't too happy about, because I think if it was fresher, I would have used it. Also in that recipe box, the recipe called for basil, which they gave me a little basil, and you can see here it isn't at all fresh. That was the item that was the least fresh from the box. So I was a little disappointed, or I was the most disappointed with the basil, because I'm a big fan of basil, but what are you gonna do? I was able to use some of it, probably about a quarter of it. I put that in the recipe. It was fine. So I made the lasagna, and actually I was really happy on how it came out. I thought the taste was really good. I never made lasagna before, and I'm just not a person that's into lasagna. But if I had to eat lasagna, I don't mind eating this one. This is what it looks like on the card, and this was my attempt to mimic that. You'll see that with my videos. The food doesn't always come out pretty, but the really good thing was that who cares about how it looks, how it's plated? What I care about is how it tastes. So I'm not a big lasagna eater, but I enjoyed this one. So to wrap up all 3 recipes, well, I didn't kill anyone. I didn't kill the guest that I invited for each and every recipe. They all survived. And I felt proud of myself. I felt that I actually made something more complicated. Here's another point, and I want to make, is that with Marley Spoon, you can recreate these recipes later. So for anything that you like my favorite was the enchiladas, I plan to make those enchiladas again, and I have the recipe card, and all I need to do is go to the grocery store, buy those ingredients, and I'll make enchiladas for myself again. So that's another benefit a lot of people don't talk about. So have you ever tried Marley Spoon yourself? Have you tried this service? If you have, make sure you leave a comment below this video. Let everyone know what you thought about it, good or bad. All right, so overall, my experience with Marley Spoon was pretty good. I didn't like certain things. I thought the ingredients could be fresher. I thought that the recipe cards could be easier to understand. But other than that, I liked how easy it was to order the food that I wanted. It was delivered when they said they were going to deliver it. And the end results of all my recipes, I was satisfied with how everything tasted. And I was able to do it all by myself. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. Don't forget to hit like, and I'll see you next time.